Do you evict or do you evolve? Do you grow?
Or do you let go? Lord, if it's going to happen, you have to do it. And I trust the God in Him to connect with you and for you to work a miracle in this situation because I can't do it. If you believe that He brought you together, then there's a reason, right? And so, what is that reason? That's what you're fighting for. You're not just fighting to be together just to be together. There's something bigger to the picture.
Well, hey, I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Couple of Destiny.
Our life, our journey, and our truth.
Absolutely. And we mean it when we say it. We're so excited to have you connected on this platform. And if this is your first time staying connected to us, we want you to know we appreciate you so much. And I said staying connected for a reason because we don't want you just to drop in as a visitor. We want you to stay connected on this platform, making certain that you absolutely like, comment,
subscribe, and share with your friends.
Yes, that means a lot to us. Everywhere we go around the world, literally people tell us that they are being blessed by this platform, and we want to say thank God for that. We appreciate all the love and support and all the comments and all the ideas that you share with us, and it means a lot. Our goal in this platform is to just be transparent, to let you know we're real people with real lives like you, sharing our journey in hopes that it might be something encouraging to you, but you know you're not alone. We're all trying to do life, and we want to do it life together and do it well. So we're grateful to God, and I'm thankful. I want you to follow Dr. Steph because let me tell you, girl's full of wisdom, full of stuff you need to learn about. Follow her right there, Dr. Steph Walker, on Instagram, Facebook, all that. Follow me at Joseph Walker 3. And of course, make sure you go to josephwalker3.org and get our book. We have a wonderful book called Becoming a Couple of Destiny. We wrote this book because it's just a book that really speaks about how our relationship evolved and how we came together, and God brings us together for purposes
much greater than ourselves.
Yep, and so we talk about that. And also I've got a brand new book out there entitled Pursuit of Purpose, and you can get your hands on it. I hope it'll bless you. So a lot of different books and content that we believe can be a blessing to your life. So we're thankful to God for that. And of course, we're ready to get into this episode because this one, boy, this is personal, right? And you know, the best way to talk about it is, do you evict or do you evolve? Do you grow?
Or do you let go?
Pop the mic. What relationships, let me tell you some marriage, whatever. Here's the deal.
Yeah.
Let me, as a man, Joseph, just be very real. The man that you are looking at right now has not always been the man that you're looking at right now. And the grace that this woman gave me to evolve had a lot to do with, one, her spiritual foundation, trusting God, two, her belief in our destiny together. And I believe that when those things are working in sync, it allows a person to evolve. Oftentimes, our maturation processes are different. Our paths are different. We bring a variety of different...
Your histories are
different. Baggage is different. We talk about all the time, marriage is not the merge of two lives. It is the collision of two histories. And so sometimes you can get frustrated along the path.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm sure she woke up some days and said, God, you sold me a lemon. What's going on? What's up with this dude? He can't get right. Why is he doing this and doing that and doing this? And I'm working through it, trying to figure out why I'm doing this and why I'm doing that. But God blessed me with someone who was anointed to walked me through the process. And eviction was not an option. I'm sure going away was for a little bit. But the reason why we're talking about this is because every relationship goes through it.
Some sort of challenge. Yeah, yeah.
And when you talk about really being anointed to be with a person, it doesn't mean that you are being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think that's the idea that people say you're crazy for hanging and dealing with all that stuff. At some point, the rubber's got to meet the road. Either the person's got to make a significant decision to change, go on a path to really invest in the relationship, or you have to make a decision to say, this is enough.
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest factor is whether or not the person wants to fight for it. As in, do they recognize the issue, recognize the need for change, recognize the need for help sometimes in helping them change, not necessarily from you, perhaps from a counselor, a therapist, or whatever, but then having the desire to do better, the desire to want to fight for the relationship, fight for the marriage, fight to do the right thing and be the right person, be all that God called them to be. And it's a journey, and sometimes it's a very uncomfortable journey. But again, when you are a believer and you really believe that God really did bring you guys together for a purpose much greater than yourselves, then you realize that you're not fighting for the marriage, you're fighting for your legacy. You're fighting for the purpose behind everything that brought you together. Like, God doesn't make any mistakes. And so if you believe that he brought you together, then there's a reason, right? And so what is that reason? That's what you're fighting for. You're not just fighting to be together just to be together. There's something bigger to the picture.
So roll back for a second. If you're married and you watch this, I want you to roll back the reception, roll back, the cake, roll back the wedding dress, roll back all that beautiful stuff you put together, and go back to the moment when the pastor who married you looked at you and you voluntarily said, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health. Like, do you really think that it's going to always be for better?
Right. Like, you forget.
Yeah. Like, it ain't going to always be for better. It will have some for worse times.
Yeah.
And those for worse times can be unreconciled historical issues, trauma that has become tradition.
Baggage or skeletons in the closet.
Trauma can become tradition if you don't deal with it. And a person's unwillingness to deal with it, a person's shame is wrapped up in trauma. And so that person's walking out their own journey, trying to figure out, I've never been taught how to do this. I've never learned how to do this. And here's a person over here like, well, I have an expectation that you should know this already. But you begin to realize that you are called to evolve together, because though one person may be having shortages on this area, you have to look at your own life and say, where in my life do I have those same shortages, and be willing to say. Or not even
same shortages, but shortages, but different shortages.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's got problems. No one is perfect, right? And so you hear us say that all the time, like, we're not perfect people, but we're perfect for one another because we balance each other. His problems are not my problems. My problems are not his problems. But we come together and we make a powerful force. And I can help him and he can help me. He strengthens me where I'm weak. I strengthen him where he's weak. And because we know that, and even though it's not always easy, I think we've been able to give each other the space and grace to grow, and been willing to walk through whatever the season is that God has us in order to be better, stronger, wiser, more resilient in terms of our marriage and our relationship.
Gail McDonald has a book we talk about all the time, and she was such an inspiration to both of us. And it's called High Privilege, High Cost, right? And it talks about that the privilege of leadership, right, and the privilege of the blessing of the Lord upon your life, it brings a variety of different, blessings, gratuities, things that you otherwise would not have. But it comes with great cost.
Great Cost.
Great cost. And that cost can be, the absence of that person emotionally. It can come at seasons when that person is grinding and not aware of what you might need, or that person's, going through their own personal issues, and they become angry, and they go through various emotions as if almost they're possessed, not literally, but they can go through these different things, and
highs and lows,
undulations.
extreme lows.
Yeah, and it just creates this weird space, and you don't realize that when you see people that are blessed, you don't realize that the high cost
what it
they've had to
costs
go
you to
through.
be, because it looks all glorious and glamorous, and you're like, oh, I wish I had that. You wish you had what you see, but you definitely don't wish that you have what you don't see.
Yes, Lord.
Right?
No.
The journey that it takes to get there, and even on those days when they're smiling and they're making everything look easy, behind the scenes, frequently, it's not. And it doesn't always look or feel behind the scenes how it looks like in person. I think that people who are high achievers are really good at making it look easy, making things look like everything is all hunky-dory and perfect or what have you. And the reality, it's not. They've just learned to just work through it and walk through it and just suck it up and keep going.
Yeah. When you think about, for example, the word prayer, and the idea of prayer, how has that been a tool for you in really allowing me to evolve? Because seriously, people say, I need to pray, but really, what does that look like for you?
Prayer has been central to our relationship and the survival of our relationship, us being able to thrive and grow, and preventing either one of us from bailing ship, to be honest. Even in our worst seasons, I will say, just in full transparency, my prayer at times, and I think this is what really saved me, was, Lord, I don't get it. I don't understand. I can't do this, but I know that you can.
Yeah.
And, he's human. He's a man, a human being. I don't trust him to fix himself, but I trust the God in him.
Yeah.
And I trust you to work with him. Because I think as women, especially Black women, we have this heroic, I can fix anyone, I can fix anything, I can do it kind of attitude that we approach life with, because we've had to. We've had to be resilient. We've had to, go through the fire. We've had to, fight the fight that most people don't have to fight on a daily basis, right? Yeah. And so we know how to make stuff happen. And so we don't give up easily, which is why we frequently stay in relationships too long that are not ordained by God, because we're thinking we can fix them, we can change them, we can do this. But I had to get to a point where I recognized that I could not change him. And that released me from the pressure of doing and having and feeling like, I have to do this, and, racking my brain and stressing myself out. And I just released it and said, Lord, if it's going to be done, you have to do it. I release myself from the responsibility of trying to change a grown human being. Lord, if it's going to happen, you have to do it. And I trust the God in him to connect with you and for you to work a miracle in this situation, because I can't do it. And I feel like that was the saving grace. My faith, being able to trust God, trust that God can do it, because obviously he can do all things, right? And so I think what we have a tendency to do sometimes in those kind of situations is get in the way. As opposed to letting go and letting God, we say, let go and let God, but we say it, but we don't actually do it. We still try to control the situation. And I think sometimes in relationships, I think that God is really good about showing us who he is, and almost forcing us to relinquish our relationship to him, basically give it back. We trusted him to find us and put us together, but sometimes we don't trust him to carry us through the journey. At some point, you're holding on so tight that you're choking the relationship, as opposed to allowing God to do what God does. And that's giving it back to him and letting him do what he needs to do in each of us. And so I wasn't just praying for him, but I was also praying for me. Who do I need to be in this season? What strengths or, areas or gaps do I need to work on? Like, who do I need to be, not just for him, but for myself? Like, because sometimes when you're in a relationship, you lose yourself. You're trying so hard to fight to help somebody else breathe and survive that you begin to suffocate, that you begin to drown. And then sometimes you have to just reset. Okay, you need to take care of you. You're whole, grown. You need to figure this out. And I need to take care of me. And allowing God to work his just omniscient power in this, and being just really prayerful and very intentional about just allowing him to do just that.
That's really powerful. The messianic complex is what it's called. She described it perfectly. It's very real. This idea of I'm going to be the savior of this person. God never intended either of us to be that. One of the things I'll say squarely and clearly to every person listening, male, female, is that never shun therapy.
Yeah.
It is important when you're wrestling with things, dealing with things that could potentially undermine the integrity of your relationship. It's time to talk to somebody about that. It's time to go on a path individually. To never get to a place where you feel that I'm beyond talking to somebody. I can fix it. Because not only does the messianic complex work in the idea that I can save this person, but also it works in this idea I can save myself. Right? And that's the person drowning, convincing themselves that I'm gonna be old until the end of the water and can't be okay. So you have to get to a point, the lifeguard's there for a reason, to say, hey, this is too much. And that's what I believe. I'm an advocate for therapy.
And I would argue that sometimes people don't seek therapy because they think that it's a sign of weakness. And I would actually argue the opposite. I would argue that it is a sign of strength, a sign of wisdom, a sign of recognizing what your own personal shortcomings are. I think it's a stronger person who's able to look themselves in the mirror and be like, you need help, self. You can't do this by yourself. And you have done all that you can do to this point, and it's okay. Like, to sit there in the corner and be quiet and to drown, I would argue is less strength than standing up and being bold with it and being like, you know what? I'm going to go get some help for myself. I'm going to go get some help for us, for our future, for our future, for our kids, for our legacy. I'm going to get help for that. Even if I can't get help for myself, I have these other reasons to go get help for.
Yeah, that's so true. So guys, listen, I mean, this idea of evolving in the relationship, asking God to give you the grace to evolve is real. And one of the things that we really have to address before we get out of here is, when is it time to say
goodbye, sayonara?
Jesus talks about that. You just got to take the dust off your feet. And there comes a moment where you have to say it's just too much. That I believe when it begins to cost you your mental health, I believe when there's violence or the threat of your life, see, all that God do is pull a gun out one time on me. Just one time, one act of violence. You don't get a second chance at that. I think it's just important that you make that decision. Your red line, and listen, we're not here to determine what your red line is. Let's say it again. We're not here to determine what your red line is.
Meaning what the line you draw in the sand, like what's your bottom line.
We're saying to you, however, is that there is a thing called the red line. And
you have to define that for yourself.
What we have discovered is that God's power can give you the grace to survive and overcome more than you could in your natural flesh. Now, that's a fact.
Yes.
We have counseled people and we have done it. I said, overcome stuff that people would have walked away from.
Yeah.
However, there is a red line. And I think that as you grow and you pray spiritually, you begin to determine at what point, is my life in danger? My children's lives in danger? At what point?
Like, what are deal breakers for you?
There you go. That's it.
Like, what are things that you feel like you can tolerate and deal with? And as you're evolving yourself, you learn those things. Okay, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I want. This is what I don't
Yeah.
want. These are my deal breakers. These are things that I can tolerate.
So
These are
true.
there's some trade-offs.
So true.
Nobody is perfect. All you're doing when you're, for those of you who are still out there and single and searching or what have you, or waiting for God to deliver your Boaz, like nobody is perfect, right? The question is, what are the trade-offs, right? Are you willing to take this, this, and this, or this, this, and this? Some of those things are deal breakers that you will not tolerate, and some of those things are those are things that we can work on. What are the things you need to work on? So you can't be so such a perfectionist. And when you're looking at other people, you have to be perfect. When you look at yourself and you're not, right? And so giving people the space and the grace to grow and evolve and understand that when you stand up there and you take those vows, they mean something. It's not for better, for better, for better, for better, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. And sickness is not always me going to the hospital. It's not someone having a heart attack. Sickness comes in various forms. And so be very mindful of what you say when you stand before God and before your family and your friends, because that actually means something. And I feel like for a lot of people that's been watered down, and we get up there and we just say, and you think that it's like a script, but those are words that it's a covenant that you are creating between you, the Lord, and your spouse. And so it actually does mean something. So don't take that lightly. And if you cannot get up there and say that and believe that, don't do it. That means it's not the right person, and it means it's not worth it. Don't do it. If you can't look the other person in the face or look yourself in the face and say that that you are willing to go through the fire with this person, like at the end of the day, do I want every day to be perfect? Yes. But if my days aren't perfect, I would rather him be the person that I'm not going through a perfect day with, rather than anybody else. And I hope that makes sense. Like, you will go through trials and tribulations. Who do you want to be your partner as you're going through trials and tribulations? That's the person that you want to be with.
That's it. Oh, babe. Wow. I love that. That's bars. Bars. Wow. I
don't
love
know what
that.
means.
Well, y'all know what that means. Dr. Steph dropping those bars. I love it. But no, we appreciate you guys so much. I hope this has blessed you. And again, this is our goal, just to be transparent, say, look, we're evolving, and we both look at each other sometimes and say, now God, what's up? And then you realize, I'd rather be with you on the imperfect day than be with anybody else. At the end of the day, I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm willing to evolve with you versus evict you. I'm willing to grow with you versus let go of you.
And if you're able to get through those times that are trying, like, it's so worth it.
It is. It is. Hey, let us know, man, in the comment section. What do you think? What are your thoughts? And if you ever, and I mean this and we mean this, if you ever at a point where you feel like you and your significant other may need, someone to talk to, therapy or whatever, we can recommend that for you. Or maybe you just need a, 15-minute, 20-minute conversation, whatever. We're here to make ourselves available. If our schedules will work it out, we'd love to do that by Zoom with you. But we just want you to know we care about you. We want to see you make it.
We want to see you win.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters. You can do this, and we appreciate you so much. So listen, again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Follow Dr. Steph now, Dr. Steph Walker. Follow me at Joseph Walker 3. And hey, make sure you get that new book, Pursue the Purpose, piece by piece. Those pieces matter. They'll bring peace when you understand them. So thank you so much. We love you. And until next time, I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.